gatekeepers. Welcome to Sunday. Ooh, it's starting already. There you go. We're starting already. Can you hear me? All right, 1 second. Can you hear me on my 5-5? Let's see if we can get the camera working. Boy, we got gremlins in here already, folks. Maybe. 1 second. How about that? Now, here we go. Wow. All right. Gremlins everywhere tonight, folks. How's everybody doing? Can you hear me? Let's turn down a little light. Let there be light. There we go. All right. 5x5. All right. Thank you, mods. Welcome in tonight to this cacophony of craziness. Look, here's the thing. Here's the vibe. You're going to be fine. We're going to be all right. We're just going to keep hitting buttons till one of them works. So tonight I want you to, kick off your shoes. Make fists with your toes in the carpet. Hug a pet. Hold somebody's hand. Do something nice that magnifies that love vibe, that comfortable vibe, that vibration of familiarity, of safety, of warmth, because that's where I want everybody tonight. Because if you're there, you're going to be able to receive the information that these beautiful ladies are going to be given and putting down. I have been getting downloads on this show for a very long time. I purposely don't talk like every day. I try to give it a couple of weeks and then touch into them because they're getting downloads. I'm getting downloads, and I don't want to, like we're influencing. When we get together, I'm like, yes, that's what I heard. Yes, that's what I heard. So tonight, if you're feeling that way, if you feel like you're getting extra information, if you feel like your abilities are really starting to kick in, if some new ones are popping up, if feel like you might be getting some extra sensory input and you really don't know what to do with it, you're not alone. You're not alone, and you're going to hear from some wonderful people tonight. Now, tonight we have reoccurring guests. Everybody knows and loves them here. And when we get together, the energy just ricochets like ricochet rabbit. It just goes all over the place. And I'm just going to be sitting here with a goofy smile on my face, just, like I'm just like a kid in the candy store. So I'm warning you ahead of time. As soon as I hit this button, it's just going to be on because I love them so much. And I love you guys. So mods, thank you for everybody being here tonight. Watch the chat. Welcome everybody that's in here. But I'm going to bring in our guests so we can get started right away and try to say hi along the way. We have our pop-up chat. I want my mods keeping lookout for questions. And mostly and foremost, I would like to prioritize anybody that is just coming into abilities. So our young ones just beginning their journey into this area of paranormal, supernatural, metaphysical, questions on that. We want to give you some good doors to open. It's your journey, it's your path, it's your choice. But I have two wonderful ladies here tonight that are going to help guide you and help answer your questions and tell you what's been on their minds and what's been getting downloaded to their minds. So tonight I have Ms. Stephanie Getz from Getz Spooky Society, a wonderful YouTube channel that we will be sharing later. If you're into paranormal investigation, if you're into intent, if you're into good energy, connecting with Earth, and everything just good about this subject, here's your lady right here. Welcome in, Steph. How are you doing, love?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
So good. Oh, here comes. I feel it. Oh gosh, I love it so much. See, we can't help it. And before we get too goofy, I want to bring in what the wonderful and sweet and just the energy off of her is just so good. Look, I had a tear in my eye. I swear, it's just wonderful. Miss Michelle Brandenburg, medium, psychic, and a wonderful friend. Here she is. Welcome, darling. Okay, now we can roll. I'm so glad. Just welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello to everybody in the chat. We all welcome you. Toss up the bacon, toss up the broccoli, and just, oh gosh, how you guys been? And just go. I'm going to shut up.
Oh my gosh, I can't share to my channel. I just want to get that out there. So I guess
It
because I'm
won't
on,
go. It won't
well,
go. Let me double check behind the scenes and make sure I've got
no,
all the buttons clicked.
I think it's because I'm on Michelle's account.
Oh, yeah.
And so since you stream to yours, it doesn't give me the option anymore.
Is there anything we can do to help you? I mean, if there's any viewers watching tonight that want to catch it, we are on Rumble right now. Please ask my mods in the channel. They'll throw up a link. If it's easier for people to go there, it's free. We are on YouTube as well. And we, I think, live to Facebook. And we may or may not be on X. I'm not sure. I'm not showing one for that, but at least 3. So you can go there. I can also share your YouTube channel so they can jump in there as well. All right, how's yours working, Michelle?
It's working great.
Good, good, good. And welcome everybody that's here from those channels. I see so many new names in here. I see all these wonderful Vixen Doe and Ted Branson and Lynn Monet. Lynn will be with us next weekend, I believe. Chris, is good to see you, honey. She's back from her day. Maybe you're not back from your day. Do you still have a shovel in your hand, honey? And Lisa Ray and everybody else. Gray Wolf. Oh gosh, Lindsay, so good to see you right out of Canada. Drop where you're listening from while we get a little bit of background on these ladies. And I'm going to be focusing here, and I'm going to be really relying on my mods tonight. Again, like any of those questions, be on the lookout for that, because I don't know if you guys are getting anything in the past couple weeks, but I'm really getting a lot of young people are really opening up all of a sudden. People are getting away from the fluoride and the pineal gland, and they're really looking towards some answers. And I think that's a big deal tonight. Were you guys getting any of that in the past couple weeks?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Do tell. Do tell. I know. I'm going to shut up and let you talk. Please do.
Stephanie, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go right ahead, girl.
Well, it has, like, the past few weeks, it has just been like crazy. Like, numbers. Numbers are normal for me in like the form of a square or a rectangle. Those I know are downloads, but I don't know what they mean. I just know I see numbers, but I know something's getting ready to happen, something positive. I've been seeing those a lot the past few weeks, but I've also had, it seems like the energy has ramped up as far as receiving information. Like when I'm not, asking for information, it's just like boom, 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 boom. And it can be, over various things, but dealing with myself or my surroundings. So it's almost like spirit really honing in on making sure that I'm staying at a certain energetic level is the best way that I can put it.
Yep.
Not allowing distractions and things like that to encompass my energy. So
I'm getting a little of that too. I can confirm same type of thing. It's like you think you're walking away. Nope, come right back here. We need you focused back here. You have to go tell this person what you're getting here. A mind comes like this outside. I have a weird thing, but it's like, look, I'm getting this. Would you please take it because it's not mine, and they need you to do this, or they need you to focus here. And it's almost like we're getting used as sounding boards a lot more. I think maybe there's a better way to put that, but they're not listening, so they're banging off of us. You see what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
tap them on the shoulder again, tap them on the shoulder again. Steph, what do you think?
I'm traveling so much at night, and my dog, he's traveling more. It's insane. Like, I will wake up in the morning and I'm conscious of some of it because I'm like actually able to react in the dream itself. But then some mornings I'm waking up and I was so out of it. Like, I've got lines on my face and I'm drooling. Like, it's ridiculous. And my dog, I'll wake up and he's not even on the bed. Like, he's not there. It's been crazy. I know that I visited past and future lives. I mean, it's just been insane. The channeling I'm getting from spirit, the people that have been put in my life lately, the communities that I'm forming, I'm manifesting all of it. Everything that spirit told me to do, I've actually done it. And I haven't even really tried.
Wow. And I think too, okay. So when we got together, I was getting, I came across, sometimes I go through these things where I'll make a bunch of one thing and then I won't touch it for a couple of years. So like make a bunch of pendulums with crystals on them. I don't know who I'm making them for, but and then they always find their place. It's just what I do because it's wire and gemstones. And if you put the right things together, it'll find where it needs to be. It's one of those. So I came across a pendulum and it made me focus on it. And I thought, okay, I'm getting that. And I just, all of a sudden, as soon as I focused on that, it was, you have to tell people how to protect themselves. There's people that aren't, that are getting the wrong idea about things and shutting doors that they could possibly walk through with the right information. So what I actually got was kind of crude and funky, but if you knew my mind, it would be okay. It's like comic booky, but that's how my brain works, like a graphic novel almost. So I'm getting the difference between, like, say, fixing your car with the right tool to fix that part and going at it with a chainsaw. This is what they were showing me. They're going at it with chainsaws because they were raised. This sounds funny, but to me it makes sense. Raised rough. And what it meant to me was video games, the movies, the things. And I'm not saying anything against those things, but if they're not guided tours, if you know what, on their journey, it can go the wrong way quick. It can stimulate the wrong parts of the brain. It can fill in places that should have been filled in with more loving, light-filled things, if that makes sense. Does that mean anything to you guys? And again, just both of you give your opinion on that, because I think you're getting similar or you're getting another piece of that, if that makes sense. Okay, go ahead.
So recently I've had a lot of people coming to my house, and I've got my tourmaline above all my doors. I've got all the stuff to cleanse and clear, etc. And I live in a house full of antiques in an old house from the 1800s. And I'm getting a lot of, how do you cleanse your antiques before you bring them in the house? I don't, because I don't attract negative energy. So one thing I would say is, if you go into it and live your life in a way that you just don't put it out there, you don't allow it, you don't think about it, you don't attract it, that is 90% of the battle, in my opinion.
So important what you just said, because I know so many people that have been in this for decades that won't even bring themselves out of the angelic realm of vibrating. If you catch my drift, it was like, I've never run into them. They're not denying the dark exists. They're not on a I don't want to get people to get me wrong. They're not on a shamanic level. Whereas if you're talking about shaman, and I'm no expert, please, I'm just trying to, hack my way through this. So if you're on a shamanic level, shamans are more like, they embrace the darkness because they have to go in, they have to experience it, so they know how to battle it, so they can come out and help others do the same. That's a warrior effect at it, to where others will say, I know it exists, I just don't, it's irrelevant to me.
Right.
This is what I'm picking up from you. And I believe in that so much. But here's the thing. You're also coming at it on a foundation as a warrior that has been through the gauntlet.
Yes.
Has earned your armor, which is what I was talking about last weekend. This has been going for a while, guys, and it all is connected, whether we're talking about ghosts or whatever. And you've earned that armor, so you can go at it with that kind of intent and that kind of stoic, almost Greek philosophy kind of, which is, I have a lot of that myself, but kind of a combination where I think you're getting a lot of it. Forgive me if I mislabel it. I hate labels, but out of a Wiccan nature-based kind of solid core, which is where mine is too. We just call it Native American. Same thing.
Right.
Honey, are you getting similar?
Yes.
Yeah. Please tell.
What is happening on my end now? Usually, I get like warnings ahead of time. Not always. Sometimes there's certain things that I have to experience, so of course I'm not warned about it ahead of time. But usually I am warned. So if I were to go to buy an antique piece, if I receive a warning about it ahead of time, then of course, I would address it. It's not going to stop me from buying it. I would cleanse myself, pray over it, all these things that I do. But if by chance, let's just say I bring home a piece, and because years ago, because of how I was raised, in a cult-like religion, it was very hardcore religious, and everything was angels and demons. And so if I brought in something, and let's say I had
And no, what she means, excuse me, what with the way you said that, I'm picking up angels, demons, no gray.
right.
Angels, demon, no gray. Is it okay? I just want to make sure I've got that right. Yep.
So, when I would bring things in, there would be things attached. There would be people, spirits attached to it, not anything demonic. But because of the belief system at that time, I'm being told it's demons, because that's not going to be a real human spirit. It's a trickster. That's the way I was taught. But over the years, I've learned that no, these are actual people that are still with these objects, that have attached these objects. Now, I
said this exact same thing last Sunday. I just revel in the beauty of the entire thing. It's just amazing. But I said this in other words, but exactly what you just said. You just validated that for me. I had to point it out.
Wow. And now I do believe in demonic entities. I have dealt with demons since I was 3. They are real. However, when it comes to like bringing in something, like some kind of artifact, or anything that has some age onto it, of course it's going to have some type of probably energy attached. And as Stephanie was saying, I absolutely agree. It's all about our intentions. Everything is about our intentions. And fear, which was what I was trying to get to, how I was raised. It was fear, very, very fear based. So,
which is a weakness.
Yes.
Which they don't teach strength. What I don't get that. You know what I'm saying? And I think too that both of you are correct on the same levels as far as, and I agree with everything. But it's almost like some people need the ritual. Steph, do you agree with this? Because we're very ritualistic when we do things. If I'm doing a saging, if I'm making a feather fan for smudging or something like that, there's a ritual to it. Whether it's a Japanese tea pour or something like that, there's the ritual of it. And I think that in that ritual, it gives us strength in the familiarity of the action. So although Stephanie, what the point I was making was, she's so adamant in her beliefs and her thoughts and what she knows and what she feels and what it is. She's like me. And it's like, this, we're not having it. Very Hans Holzler. It's not going to happen. She ain't having it. And that's just how we approach it. But we didn't get there overnight.
No.
Right? So by telling us all these angles, the young, let me put it this way, the youngins who are going through this, or it doesn't have anything to do with age. It has to do with your consciousness, your progression in your journey. Again, we tell people, if it's not resonating now, put it on your shelf, put it in your back pocket, because it will later, because you're here for a reason, hear it for a reason. So I agree with both of, everything that you're saying. And I think that some people need that ritual. And I think that builds strength and confidence and intent. And it shows the other side, depending on what you're dealing with, those same things. And some are going to challenge it, which is why I always say, don't challenge anything. It's just, we're not saying go in and go. The worst thing I've ever heard anybody say in an act of haunting is, don't go after her, take me. And I'm like, no, don't do that. That's, words and energy have so much power, so I agree with both of you. And as far as, if you want to cleanse it, if you want to run it through saging, or you want to put it through what works for you, some people under the moon, whatever, I think that works. But now, what's your go-to going into a property? Nothing about the case you're going to explore. You want to make sure that you have those filters, like Michelle was talking about. Hey, no black, there was no gray. everything was black and white with you. Same thing. I have people tell me all the time, oh, you're not talking to grandma, it's a demon. And I just said last weekend, I'm sorry. Listen, I respect what you think, but here's the thing. My filters are tried and true to me. Stephanie's tried and true to her enough to walk through. And she's like, because I think, and I'm going to guess at this, taking that shamanic view towards it, what if that table that's got that whoever attached to it was supposed to come home with Stephanie so it could gain the energy it needed to gain so it could communicate the issue and why it stayed behind and needed help, and this soul needs help.
Right.
You can't just banish everything willy-nilly because I think too that shows your self-confidence, and I think a lot of people lack that because there's so much misunderstood, so much unknown. So what would you say to someone that has no knowledge really of this? They're drawn to it, like Steph was saying, drawn to the energy of it. What would you say to them to start getting their filters exercised so they can tell, I'm talking to grandma. There's no way a demon that evil who has never touched love, light, or anything else could fool me into feeling all those things and seeing those things. And I tried to tell them last week, extreme high vibrational beings and extremely negative vibrational beings, you can feel them coming before they ever get there. Mm-hmm. There's no joking around in the middle there. What say you guys on that?
I would say that I would never, and sometimes it makes me a little upset that some of these infamous haunted places that you can go and investigate and whatnot, that they just let anybody investigate. I would say that you need to, before you were to do anything like that, try to communicate with any spirits, you really need to learn from somebody that knows what they're doing. You can't just go in and do it. You have to really kind of know what you're doing, what you're faced with. So if you're not a medium like Michelle or me or you may not, your intuition may not be full on. Like you may not know if you're talking to a trickster or a demon versus, a regular spirit versus a residual energy versus whatever. So it does bother me when they just let I would never tell anybody to just go. And we have guests at every single investigation, and I protect the guests at every single investigation. And I do the prayer, and I, ask God for the white light and all of the stuff. And I do that for all of us. It's a lot on me. Mm-hmm. But I don't think
people don't realize that, Steph, how much it takes out of us.
Yeah.
And they're so glib and so quick to armchair quarterback and criticize it. Oh, she's this and she's just a book and she's trying to get attention. She's doing. If you knew what we went through to go to try to listen, I've not been able to talk to anybody on the phone for at least 3 months. I'm being very picky about who I spend time with and everything because everybody's pulling, everybody's draining everybody. And, after a while, you just got to say, whoa, and you have to get your base back. You have to get your baseline back. You have to set your, I don't know what you call it. I'm an old truck driver. You have to put your chucks behind your tires, baby, because you're rolling. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you guys are going through that too. So here's the opposite part. What do you do to get that back? What do you do to rejuvenate or to prepare ahead to boost your energy? Do you fast? Do you eat 3 good solid meals? What do you guys do for that? You have any advice on that stuff for somebody going in?
Well, I do a lot of things that I incorporate every day, and then things that I incorporate. Let's say if I know I've had to go grocery shopping, because you don't always plan. There's a lot of times that you're like, oh no, I'm out of this, and you got to run to the store real quick. So normal things that I do every day, like when I get up, I'll write happy affirmations. I say my prayer, and
that's a good one, Michelle. That's a good one. I forgot all about how simple something so simple, Steph, to write that down. There's got to be something in the flow of it through your hand into the writing, into the intent of that. So important. Good one.
Yeah, and it helps change. I noticed for me, it helps change my entire day. If I get up and I just, I do nothing, at first it's like, it seems like my day just kind of spirals, this happens and then this happens, and it's like, oh no, I just want to lay down and start my day over. But if as soon as I wake up, like I will write affirmations or I will say my prayer. And if I'm like, say, like sometimes like when I go to Stephanie's and spend the night or something, then, like I'll just mentally, I'll say my affirmations mentally. But I'm always having to make sure that I started out positive as soon as I get up. Now those are like habits that I've incorporated. But now, and there's many, many more, but things that I do kind of on the fly is, which is also kind of a habit. I always carry black tourmaline with me. I always keep it cleansed and charged. Keep it in my wallet, my pocket, something. And then
the brow's good. Right here, right over your heart. Sometimes I'll do this. I'll do one of these like adjustments, and you have horseshoe nails fall out or some other kind of thing. People just look at you. Excuse me. It's a rough world out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. It's true story. True story. It's not the worst thing that's ever fallen out, but I'm just saying. Steph knows exactly what I mean. Iron, baby. Sometimes just having it around the wrist is not enough. I mean, there's a reason they used to wear a lot of that. All this stuff has a place. I'm sorry, honey. Go ahead.
Well, and even like, this is my belief, because this is, I feel energy. So I can feel from the crystals, I can see energy around everything. Everything. It doesn't matter if it's a fork, a doorway. I see like the outline, the energy. Well, so like, that's why when I deal with crystals, like this ring, for instance, I make my rings, most of them. See,
that's beautiful, baby. See? Now I can't tell. Is it a moonstone? Is it a?
No, it's like a green.
Oh, okay.
But the backing, the backing has openings that
open
in.
So important. She's spot on. All my jewelry has openings. It has to breathe. You keep in your herbs, it has to be in something cotton. It has to be in something breathable. Don't keep your herbs in a Ziploc bag. I mean, you can, but it's not right. Go ahead.
And if you do, here's the thing. If you do have no other choice but to carry a stone in your pocket, that's wonderful. It does still help. But, just like when we tumble stones, they're beautiful, they're smooth, they're polished, but it affects the energy. They're not as strong as a raw crystal, but they still work, but they're not as strong, they're not as powerful. So, everything that we do does affect, what we were naturally given. So we have to be really careful, how, if we're going to wear jewelry, then we gotta start thinking, what's in between that piece of jewelry and our skin? Because everything's energy, even
so
the clothes,
true.
That's energy. So what type of energy is in between? You see what I'm saying? So,
I do.
Yeah. So, there's like, it's like paying attention to fine details on anything that you do. But when you're first starting out, it's a lot and it can seem so overwhelming. Well, do I use this crystal or do I use crystals at all? Do I use sage? Is that all that I need? Do I have to have everything? There's so many things that, each of us go through. But for myself, I found that, like, Stephanie's the one that taught me, it's all about intention. So my go-to are crystals because that's what I'm drawn to. That's what I am, I feel like I need to do. However, I will still sage. If I feel that's what I need to do, I will do it. I really go by my intuition.
I think that's so important, Michelle, not to cut you off, but for anybody listening, that's exactly what you do. You try it out. If it feels right, continue to do it. go through, experiment with the things. But I think that's why I had the pendulum. As far as what I got with that was, let them know that they can try these things, but find that one protection thing that makes you feel. So by listening to you guys and everything you're saying, it's basically you find that thing that works for you. If you can't do it yourself, find somebody like these ladies here, somebody who has, listen, been doing this a little while. You see that they're, they go through things. We go through crisis. Look, we hurt, we bleed, we bang our thing. We want to cuss the guy out in front of us to just, cut us off, and did all these things, instead of put my, look, I don't always win the battle, honey. I'm just saying, if I'm in 4 out of 5, I'm doing good. But, that's the thing. The old joke is like, wake up in the morning with great intentions. By 10 a.m., I'm, banging my head against the wall and pray, God, give me strength, right? But that's the way it is. But here's the thing, light workers aren't perfect either, trial and error, man, and I just think it's so important that we've got these little things. So if it's pendulum or cards, now I say go instinct. Now, since I was a little kid, tarot cards are coming in and out of my life to where I was like, man, I want to do that. I grew up Asbury Park in New Jersey with Madame Marie, from the song, the literal, that booth was there my entire childhood, and long after I was in the military. And then I think her daughter took over. So Madame Marie's on the boardwalk, that's a real thing. And she used to, she was like an informant, and she was like involved in both sides. There was a whole big story with it. But the thing was, it was always there. Those kind of, that mystical gypsy kind of tarot come into our, that room with the Stevie Nicks kind of vibe. That's been my vibe my whole life, the scarves and the whole thing. I've always been kind of a hippie gypsy kind of person. So I just kind of fell into all that like it's normal. But every time I tried to do the cards, I get no, it's like couldn't understand them, couldn't flip them. I'm attracted to the pictures, but I couldn't do it. And I came across somebody decades later that said, you're not supposed to go down that path. It's not that there's anything wrong or anything else. You're over here and you're trying to force your square peg into a round hole. I think we get a lot of peg forcing in this, so it's okay to try the pendulum and go, you know what? I'm not feeling it, but I'm not afraid of it because I've put protection on myself. I'm starting to trust my filters. I'm not feeling a bad vibe. I will not, as Stephanie said, allow that into my life. I'm not going to put that out there. I'm not going to put the fear. So I'm not going to draw it. Is that about the gist of it for you guys as well?
Yeah, I would also say, so there's 2 points I want to make. First point is, while we're talking about crystals, I used to, when I first started getting into crystals, I was like, oh, I need to look up what crystals are good for blah, 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 and go get those. That's really not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to go look at all the pretty crystals, see what you're attracted to, then look that one up. And then the benefits and the healing properties of that will tell you that what you needed. So it's
perfectly said.
So like I just
perfectly said. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I mean,
yeah.
And then wait. Chiastolite. Look at that.
Oh man.
I had no idea.
What? Tell me about that one. I'm not even. That's beautiful. I know very little. What do you know about this?
So chiastolite, I got this for $5 from my rock shop. Chiastolite is it drew me in.
Yeah.
Look at the little So
wow.
I saw it and I was drawn to it. So I looked up chiastolite, and it was to ward off negative energy. I needed something to ward off energy.
Little boost. And they'll talk to you like that. I'm walking through a powwow, just learning about this stuff. Really, always drawn to onyx, always drawn to hematite, always drawn to these kind of things. My birthstone is garnet. I was like, why I'm not drawn to it. I don't feel a thing, So, I mean, my whole life, I didn't get it. So I'm walking past the thing and I'm looking at something this elder comes forth, and they rarely do that. If you know anything about Native American culture, especially all the elders, the wise, kind of sit back in away. They don't come up front. If they want to talk to you, they'll send a runner to come get you and bring you to them. But she came up, I know, but it's Cherokee. So that's what I'm basing it on. I don't know if Navajo does it. Don't jump at me in the chat. So I only know mine. So anyway, she comes forth and I start talking. She goes, "You're drawn to that." I was looking at onyx, and I said, "Yeah." And I had mentioned what I just said. She goes, "Well, do you know why?" And I said, "No, do you?" She said, "Because," she said, "you are born in the," and she told me, she read me. You were born in the winter months. You were born in the, January. So anyway, she goes through her thing. She goes, "Well, this is your Native American birthstone. This is the one that calls to you. This is the one that resonates with your character, your medicine, your vibration, and what you need the most in your life for you." Wow. It set me on my path to understanding crystals. And when I'm drawn to one, I go, okay, what does this mean? Oh, well, it knew. And it always does, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yep. There you go.
The other thing I would say is my dad actually, my dad is 84. And so I try to have him walk with my dog and me each day. I like to keep him walking and whatnot. And he never says anything. He'll watch my paranormal investigation videos, but he doesn't really say anything. So the other day he goes, "Stephanie, I was hearing that tarot cards can really be evil, and you really aren't supposed to read tarot cards. Is that true?" And so I had to explain to him. I said, "Dad, everything can be evil. These rose petals can be evil. Anything can be evil. It's the intention behind what you're using. Mm-hmm. Anything on this earth can be evil if you have intentions for it to be evil." And he was like, "Oh, man, I never understood that."
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's true. And I know people, I think that's the thing that starts it. I know it sounds crazy, but if you pick up a Ouija board and you build up all this fear and everything else, first, and foremost, I always say, there's not a lot of higher vibrational beings that are earthbound or coming to visit Earth that are waiting for a bunch of teenagers to sit around on a Friday night and get out a game board and communicate. So you're going to get the lower hanging fruit, kids. That doesn't mean that's necessarily evil, but you might get somebody who's just wandering around. It's not really sure what's going on, maybe a little miffed at its situation. And at first it's going to come in and go, "Yeah, I'll be grandma." Again, it's like answering a phone. You don't know who you're talking to. So if you don't have some kind of confidence in your protection, well, there's your cracks in your windshield. And that's what's going to come in.
The Ouija board, it would be a completely different situation than 3 teenagers that have no clue what they're doing.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah. You can't just say, because again, I can take a Sharpie and write on my kitchen floor and get a glass and have the same thing. It's not the board. And I don't know what people don't understand about it. And the same with any kind of deviation, right, Michelle? A pendulum, whatever you're going to use. I mean, I would venture to say a cell phone at this point, text messages, AI, for the love of God.
Right.
I would like to talk real quick about something. This is hitting on what Stephanie was talking about the crystals earlier. So it's like, I have like a metaphor kind of, or an analogy. So it's like, so many people, they say, "Oh, that's wrong. That's demonic." Even some of my family, just different people all my life. Well, that's divination. That's just horrible. Okay. So I can scry absolutely anything. It doesn't matter if it's water, grass, glass, the floor. It doesn't matter. That is an ability. It's, we all have our own abilities. Now, the main thing that I scry, though, for readings, because I'm called to them, are quartz crystal. Now, if quartz crystal is wrong, then don't wear watches. Don't be using phones. Don't be using technology, because then you're living wrong. Because quartz crystal is used in devices.
100%.
As memory.
Yes, it
Right.
does. Yes, it
So
does.
as you were
Crystal
saying,
skulls, crystal, all that. Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
so as you were saying, okay, first of all, where did they come from? Who made them? Creator. Whoever source creator made this planet made these for us to use. But as you guys were saying, it's all about intention. If we want to make them bad, then I can pick this up and I can turn it into something evil. But I don't.
Right.
So therefore, it's not evil.
Right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know,
And I think tarot too. I think again, it's I don't know enough to speak on it. I can tell you that Steve, my friend, has told me that there was a certain time, there was a certain tarot that was put out that's different from other. Again, I don't know. I have a spirit deck. It's mostly like kind of a Native American thing, but again, some people can do it. I've known people to do it with playing cards. I've known people to do it with
That's how I
tea
learned.
leaves.
Yeah.
Did you? Tea leaves and things like that. And I think, again, it has to do with just a transferring of energy and being able to discern what that energy is trying to communicate, whether it be a spirit box, a spirit box where you're just getting pieces, parts, a white noise, trying to get or you trying to spell it out with a pendulum, trying to yes or no. I use dowsing rods and copper, and to go with what you were saying about what the gemstone is it open, is it touching the skin, always so important when I made a piece. And number one thing I use is copper, because it's such a conduit, and it looks great on with gemstones, it really does. And then you've got your silver. Gold was always my last choice,
Yeah. Me too.
always. And it oddly enough, if you go back in time through tribal, same. If you go and ask any Native American group back in the day, it's so funny to bring up Disney's Pocahontas, but they did get a few things right in that movie. One of them was, we're here for the valuable thing that comes out of the ground, and it's yellow. And everybody looked at each other and went, oh, corn. And they went, no, gold. The difference. But we didn't use the gold because it was soft. It was so malleable. There wasn't a lot of use for it. It wasn't valuable to us, or, to them. So, but silver was a little harder and a lot more useful. So again, same type of thing. And I think they knew about the properties then. I think you're spot on with the crystal. It does has a memory, which is why we get stone tape theory, the whole memory thing of it being able to take a recording in time and play back like in a residual haunting and things like this. I think that water, all the elements really play a lot on that. But do you pick your crystals too? I go through it. I just take my hand and do this and see where I get the tingle.
That's exactly what I do. I do like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then if I feel like what it'll do is like everything has a tingle, but to me, but it's like all of a sudden it will be like huge electricity, like voltage, just like, but it doesn't hurt. But it's like, hey,
Right.
You get it. It's a definite feeling. I can do that with my contact list on my phone, which is, again, one of the things that most amazed me and scared the crap out of me, because I'm thinking, wow, this is something, again, could be used for evil. But, it's like, all right, who do I need to speak to on this? Because you don't know everything about everybody. You might have, 30 people on your list or whatever, and you don't know that they're a closet lucid dreamer, or, maybe they can channel, or they, they're in this for something, but they don't always put everything forward. So I'm going through it. I had imagine me having a crisis. So I had a situation. I'm just sitting in my kitchen floor going, okay, I need to talk. Who am I supposed to call? Because I can't do this. I know I'm not supposed to do this for myself. You know how there's certain things we cannot do for ourselves. What is that? Are you hearing that?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I know my phone was beeping from a text, but
it sounds like it's coming from up. Yeah, I'm getting it. That isn't that weird? Because you're looking up, I'm looking up, I'm going hearing it from up there. Not like, yeah, that's so funny. Yeah. It's throwing the sound, kind of like is your phone a ventriloquist? It can throw its it can throw its stuff. Totally. But that's one thing. I think we were kind of all over the place there, guys. But here's the thing. within all of that, you got 3 different people that are completely confident to walk into a place, to walk with others. I walk in front of others. I do the same as Stephanie. It's like, look, I'm here for this. Get behind me. I mean, I'm walking with family. Like, get behind me now. I've walked into place. I don't know if you guys ever got this. Do you get a lot of grinners? This is what I mean by grinners. Now, this is just for me, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to be selfish on this one. Grinners is something I've been trying to understand for a long time. Now, I have paranormal grinners and I have living grinners. Living grinners are usually somebody that's either got a walk-in, an oppression, or could be even a possession. It could be a completely different character to this, what we understand as a human. Okay, let's just put it that way. But you walk into a place, they feel your energy as quick as you feel theirs. And they notice you, they see you, and they turn and they know that you know that they know. And they just smile, that knowing smile. And it's the creepiest thing, I think, in all of the things I've experienced in my lifetime. That is one of the creepiest things, that instantaneous, I see you, I know you see me. And there's almost 3 times in my life I've got a hiss with it, which is just an added tone of creepiness. Have you ever experienced this?
Yes.
Figured so.
I would like to say I've experienced this. Bring that down a notch to the 3D. I've experienced that a lot, and this might help those who are just now waking up, or those who are young and just starting to go through relationships. Yes, when you start realizing that you can look at someone and they're smiling at you and they're telling you a happy story, and you know without a doubt that that is a negative energy attached to that person, who that when you walk away is going to talk about you, is going to cause problems with you somehow, and it's like you look and it's like you do know, that person knows. It's sometimes you need to prepare yourself, because sometimes that person, you have to remember, has some kind of entity attachment. Okay, so that entity attachment to that person that knows you see them, they can retaliate in ways. Okay,
You're not wrong, girl.
Yeah,
but so true.
Whether trying to argue to get you to argue back, trying to put you down to make. If you just think about it, if you've ever seen one of the movies where they have exorcisms, and you see how the demonic entities will talk back to the priest or talk back to the people
and have knowledge, and having knowledge is the thing that gets people the most, telling them the secrets and things like that. I agree 100%, man. And it's happened a lot. And I'll tell you, I think one of the reasons we're seeing a lot, light workers get this a lot. And again, I will tell you something. Please do not misunderstand light workers. It sounds like a la-di-da, we're all up here and we're vibing and we're feeling good and we're all that. Cross us and see what happens. Right. I mean, this is the thing. You don't understand. We stay up here, like Steph said, because look, I'm constantly trying to struggle. Look, I was a soldier in every lifetime I've ever had, and I came in this lifetime fully intending on being a soldier. I was so good at being a soldier. It was like butter. I promise you, I was good at it. Never got a gig. I was for, right out the bus, honey. When those drill sergeants jumped on that bus at boot camp and everybody just froze, I got up with like probably a unlit Marlboro and because hanging out the side of my mouth, grabbed my ruck, walked out the back, kicked open the back door, jumped out, stood at attention. I asked for it. I mean, I was that kind of person. And the universe went, guess what? Nope. They let me see I could do it. They gave it to me, and then it flipped it and go, watch this. The universe said, hold my beer, and totally flipped everything on me and said, you're not going to get. I was like John Wayne. I promise. I got the chin, I'm chewing the gum. I got the chin strap flapping. I was good. I was a good shot. It was the whole thing. And then it flipped on me. And I started to go through the rest. And then oh my gosh, the dreams when I was a kid of the battles, how past life regression dreams. Have you guys had these? Do you remember these from kids? Please tell us about that. I'd love to hear. My mom was scared to death. I had to stop telling her. Because I've got man hands and they're covered in blood. I have a sword. I killed so many people. Can you imagine a 6-year-old telling their mother this? My poor mother. Similar experiences? Stephanie, you're shaking your head. Yeah.
I used to have a recurring dream as a kid, and I was like in caves, and there was like ape men and stuff, but I never watched those shows, whatever they were back when I was a kid. There were shows on TV about it, but I never watched them. So that's not where I got the idea from. But I used to have them, and I was in my mind, in my dream, I was in my grandparents' front yard, but it was a cave, and it was all these ape men and cavemen and all this stuff. It was like Jurassic Park, but way before Jurassic Park. But there was some show on TV at the time, and I don't remember what it was, but I never watched it. I never saw it whatsoever. So I would tell my mom about this dream I had every night. Well, she knew about the show, and she insisted that's where I got it from, but I never watched that show. We didn't watch TV. We weren't allowed to watch that. So, yep. Michelle.
Yeah. So, as far as like a past life, yes, I've had different dreams. Now, these were not recurring. The recurring is what happened in this life. But the past life, like just different times since being a very young child, I would say started around age 5 or 6 with this one dream. Is I was burnt at a stake. Like I literally see myself being burnt. I could feel it. I could smell it. I could feel the heat, and I would be screaming and screaming, and then I wake up, and I would tell my mom, but it was always, oh, that's just a bad dream. It's just a bad dream. No, no.
The choking, man, the choking. I can't listen. Part of our regalia. I don't know if you ever heard about it. Everybody has seen. It's called a liar's choker. It's usually bone and feather. It'll have some kind of accoutrement, maybe turquoise or something. But it's called a liar's choker, and its origin is when Native Americans, everybody was all split up into little tribes, into patches, even patches of tribes. Not all Cherokees didn't live together in one big, but trust me, they were patched all over the place. So when the inevitable came and people started pushing and pushing and pushing, and everybody started, look, we need to get together. So the whole coming together was really kind of, necessary, out of, mother invention is, the whole thing. So they had to figure out, how can we send 2 or 3 people and trust what they're going to say for all of us? So they started coming up with, you see the headdress with the feathers. So what it would be is, as you do things in your life and you achieve certain milestones, whatever they may be, as a young brave, as a young girl in the tribe, or older people, you are presented with feathers. So you achieve this, you get an eagle feather for this, an eagle turkey feather for this, an eagle feather for whatever it may be. You gather feathers. So what the village did was they came together, brought all their feathers together, made one headdress for the chief that would go and speak for them. And he would carry all of their achievements and their value, their character and their medicine with him. So and it wrapped around his head. So it would go filter through that first to get to his brain if spirit sent him anything. It would be of a protection. How cool is that? The other thing was they came up with the liar's choker. And the liar's choker would be blessed. It would be handmade by, usually women who loved this person who was going to wear it, because and you're putting in all of the protection and prayers into it, and you wrap it around the throat. And if that person was to lie, it would squeeze, and it would be a liar's choker. So when they went to speak for the village, so much laid on that, their future of that village. And that was confident enough. Why? Because they had intent and they had confidence in their protection. Boom.
Yep. That's right. Boom, baby.
And I can't wear anything around my throat because I know I've been hung and choked and killed in another life that way. And I cannot, turtlenecks creep me out. I can't do anything no matter how I try. So again, past life stuff. But I think a lot of this stuff and our doubts, our wounds, our worries, our fears come from past life stuff. And I think if we don't deal with them now, we're going to deal with them again. Stephanie, you're shaking your head. What do you think about that?
So, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I told somebody, so we had a summer solstice event yesterday where we had full-blown pagan witches to just normal people that were looking for a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
We made sun catchers. They were beautiful. It was amazing. There was a lot of crying. There was a lot of amazingness.
Grounding, refurbishing.
Yep.
Yeah, I love those.
Yep. And I just forgot what I was going to tell you about. What were you talking about?
Protection. And, I was talking about the liar's choker and the chief's headdress built of the feathers and the confidence in the protection and the intent.
Dang it.
Well, take a sec. Maybe you're supposed to add something. Who knows?
Yeah.
It'll come to you. But that's the thing. And that's why I said I don't talk. I felt so bad because I must have moved you around, or I was liked the wrong page for Steffi. But anyway, I used to be able to talk to her all the time. Messenger, I lost her for a while. And when I went to go hunt, somebody said, stop. You're not supposed to convert. That what I'm getting, and this is going to sound nutso, but I'm just going to say it. What they want is for just to be fresh, to come together, and whatever we've got. The whole reason I set this up is because you're getting stuff I'm not getting. You're getting stuff I'm not getting. I'm not understanding what the hell I'm getting. They're getting stuff. I think there's all pieces to this, and I think this is it. This is it. We're in the awakening. We're obviously in some kind of shift. I mean, that's been going on for a very long time. I think we're coming into the time of real. I know it sounds tacky, but I'm getting milk and honey. I'm getting, this is the best time to start a business. This is the best time to stand up and find who you are. Stop doing what you think other people expect of you. Do what the hell you think that you were born to do. All of those things. I'm getting move forward, make the move. This whole thing of coming dragging out of this whole nasty COVID mess, and you can't gather, and they don't want you in the bar. All of that. It shifted a lot of people. It moved a lot of families. It lost a lot of friends, and it brought in new people. And I think this whole thing wasn't just that. It's multiple other things. But that seems to be a good starting point for a lot of people, that they can understand that, because a lot of people had those things happen to them, whether they changed a job or got shifted. Some people moved, whatever.
I remember.
Go ahead. Go. Please tell.
I think this is my last life.
I think it's mine too.
I haven't even told Michelle, because the last few weeks, months, the channelings that I have gotten, the healing that I have done, the things I'm being told to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is my last life.
Yep. Here.
Yeah.
Here. And I think, and I'm getting the same thing. And I'm getting, this is why I went out and I came and did this, and I did this, and I did this, and I did this, because I'm getting, I don't know if that's happening to you guys too, or anybody in the chat, but if you're getting that, like, okay, say you came into life and you've done so many things. I can't tell you the amount of jobs I've had and the amount of things. I would go in, I'd try to hit that glass ceiling. I'm going, I've achieved this. I'm bored. I'm moving on. I've always done that. I've done that. I'm not interested in anymore. I've achieved it. I've hit the glass ceiling, figured it out, whatever it may be. Okay. You're not, that used to be very frowned upon by people. It's like, oh, he's a jack of all trades, a master of none. She's flighty. He can't settle. He can't do, don't look at it that way. You're tripping through your last lifetime, baby. You're finishing all the things. You're trying all the stuff. Your genetic memory that you used to be a blacksmith is why you want to go out and try demasking. You might have been a candle maker, so you're going to make a couple candles, because your mind, you want to remember, maybe you guys have a better way to put it. I used to do this. This is familiar to me. And I need that kind of grounding satisfaction, maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this happening to you too?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Last lifetime, honey.
Because Like, I'm going through the same thing. I've actually even thought about that about myself about 2 years ago, jack of all trades. But Spirit quickly turned that around, because it was like what I deal with constantly is like, and I am a Capricorn. Yes, I am a workaholic. That to the side. I am always spiritually led. Everything I do, right? So if it was wrong or frowned upon to be a jack of all trades, then it would be silly for Spirit to be saying, okay, you need to start this, you need to do this next, you need to do this next, okay? Because that's how Spirit guides me. Okay, you need to start on this book. Okay, you need to work on this over here. Oh, you need to do this for humanity right now. Okay, wait a minute, stop that. Let's go over here and do this because humanity needs that right now. Okay, wait, stop that. Let's go over here. That's how my life is.
Yeah, here too. And again, I tried to say 2 weeks ago, if you've got things, little projects started all over the place, so you got a chair half painted in the garage, you got this over here, and you had a necklace that you broke, whatever, and you got a half restrung, and all the jumper, our minds are all over the place. I'm saying allow yourself a little bit of that. You're not cluttered, you're not crazy, you're not spread out. It's I don't know if our spirit, I don't want to say soul, I think spirit and soul are very similar, and I think they go hand in hand, but I think they can be separated in a way. And I don't know how to explain that, but it feels right.
Got you.
Because again, I've heard split souls, a split, like some of us can have part of us stay here, and part of it. Look, I don't pretend to know all of it. I'm just saying I've seen it. I've seen it more than once, and I can't explain it, but there it is. But I think that that's what's happening. And I think that people are comfortable. I look at Stephanie, I see a very comfortable person, very comfortable in your skin, very comfortable in your environment, very comfortable in who you are. Very, I don't want to say stoic, because I think people get stoic in the wrong way. I look at stoic as one of the best compliments you can give to someone, because it doesn't mean lack of emotion. I think you're very
Confident.
yeah, and comfortable and confident. I'm
Yes.
comfortable and confident, but I'm more I'm more, I want to say bumpy about it. I'm like an old road with potholes. You know what I mean? It's just, I'm cool, but I'm cool with it. And I think it's part of it, just being all over. There's not too many things that you could throw at me that I couldn't at least have a good idea about. But I'm old enough to go, I don't want to bother. It's like I don't want to, it just, things just fall away. I think what I mean by that, Steph, is what matters and what doesn't. And you found that out. And once you get in that spot and what works and what doesn't, it's like it's not that we're not moved, because we're highly moved emotionally in the things that we take that are important.
Right.
But it's almost like we're all three of us are those people that we've seen the storm. Mm-hmm. And now it's like we're not the calm before the storm. It's like we can be the storm. Do you need us to be the storm? Because don't call it if you don't want it. We
can't call it back.
You can't call it back. That's
out there.
I say it to people all the time. I mean, this is just for us. I hate to be greedy here, but look, we all get calls at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. There's a comedian right now. It goes around and he's laughing, making a joke out of, what my mom is doing now since she retired? She's a professional ghost hunter. She gets calls in the middle of the night. She says, I'll be right there. She puts her boots on, gets a flashlight in a little bag. She's got business cards. I mean, it sounds funny, but we get calls and we go right on immediately into that mode. It's a very stoic, non-emotional. It's like, yes, honey, I understand. Stop talking about it. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Just answer the questions. But we turn into cops interrogating people, basically. But we drop that. It sounds like we're not, because we're not going to be emotional about it. We're here for a job. We know what works. I need this information from you. It's right behind you. And as you're telling me all this and you want to recount it, I'm not your therapist. I just need to know a few things. I'm really a therapist for that ghost that's standing behind you. Right. I can deal with you later. Are you guys there? That's where you are too, yes?
People say all the time, don't you get scared or this or that? No.
No,
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 we're
no.
there for it's like, yeah, to your point. And there's no drama. There's none of that. It's not dramatic. It's not scary. It's just to your point, we're there. Here's what we need to know, and this is what we're gonna do.
Mhm, mhm.
I'll
And
tell
that's
you.
not it's kind of stoic. It's kind of Greek philosophy of this is what I can change, this is what I cannot, this is what I can control, this is what I cannot. I can't control you. I can only control how I react to that. I know what my intention is. I don't know who this is in the corner behind the water heater.
Right.
And I'm getting bad vibes off of it, and you're not helping. So why don't y'all go to lunch and let us kind of deal with this? And then again, there's a little girl I'm really concerned over that this thing won't let cross.
Right.
That's what I'm here for. Because what, another 150 years for somebody to get to this kid? And I see all the time. Now, I think this is a good time to bring up your channels before it gets too much, because we go on and I look and I'm like, oh my God, I got 10 minutes. So the channels, the way you do I love the vids, and I say it all the time, Steph, and I jumped in there today and popped a couple comments. But here's the thing. I love the nostalgia. I love the music. I love the way you move slowly into it. It's like getting into a warm bath. By the time you get in there and they're just like, oh, we're at a location. Oh, we're here. Oh, there's going to be an investigation, because you kind of feel you're lulled into it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean in a compliment way. And Michelle, I turn on yours, and it happens all the time. I turn on yours, and I was trying to get a picture, something for the cover art, and I popped in, and the first video comes up. She's reading Capricorn. Now you do readings every month. I think you put them all out there. I get the Capricorn, and I'm hearing, who is Capricorn? And I know you're talking to Spirit, because you're asking to Spirit to show you who you're talking about in the thing. And I'm listening to it, and I'm going, I am Michelle. I am. What do you got for me? And I'm talking to the video. I'm talking to my phone. She's just reading because it's pre-recorded. And she's telling me everything that rolled out of your mouth in that 15 minutes was absolutely true and happening right now, from the separation of moving from people and having 2 or 3 people close that really know you and all that, because this is what I mean by this whole COVID thing. Everything shifted for people. You found out maybe you didn't want to be around this person very much, or for whatever reasons it may be. Maybe they just went batshit crazy. Okay. That's their journey. I don't want to be a part of that right now. Come and see me when you lose your wings, that kind of thing. But we moved from family and everything else. Everybody made their spots. And now they're starting to collect a tribe. And people are starting to feel a draw. And I think it's so important to have channels like yours, because if you're interested in paranormal investigation, you guys do link up sometimes, and Michelle is on Steph's channel, and you guys hook up and you do mini readings, you do things like that, and animal communication and things. It's spot on beautiful. So get in there and drop the links there. Subscribe to both of these channels. What do you want to say about your channel, Steph? I mean, is that what you were going for? I mean, it's got everything. It's got intent. It's got kindness. It's got informative. It's the history, and it's got a kind of a kindness, and there's a strength in that kindness. And I think that whole thing, I'm really drawn to you over. Was just, I think it just, it's like I could see us all being in a thing where we all bring our stuff to just really you clean a house, just like, okay, it's like, who you gonna call? It's just like, I'm going over here, you're going here, we're going here, this house is clean, and let's go have a drink and a sandwich. Tell me what you think, Steph. Is that what you were going for in the channel? Because it's a beautiful channel. I love it so much.
Thank you. It is morphed and transformed because my whole astrological chart is transformation. Everything is in the 8th house or Scorpio. But so it's morphed a lot from where it began. But I've added, so my channel, I kind of almost want to change the name to Guiding Spirits Society instead of Get Spooky. It's possible. But I've also started, like, I'm a witch. I'm a kitchen witch mostly. But so I started doing my kitchen witch stuff. And everybody loves it. And I've started doing my tincture stuff. And how do I do this? And how do I create? Yeah. So the neighborhood gardens, so I'm showing people how to create their communities, etc. And I'm starting to put up my channeled messages. So 2 very important channel messages I wanted to say while we're on here tonight is, what if, as a collective, all along, our soul purpose as a collective, we each have our own soul purpose, but our soul purpose as a collective is merely just to love each other and help each other. A lot of us are failing. A lot of us are failing at that, because what if it's not about power and greed and telling somebody what to do and having to somebody tell you what to do and all of the stuff? I've eliminated all of that out of my life, and Michelle helped me with that, because Michelle was like, yep, it'll happen. You just gotta keep the faith and trust in spirit, and they'll take care of you. And they do.
This is why, not to cut you up, but this is why you got the message. This is why I said what I said when I looked at you and I heard, look at where she's sitting. Look at how comfortable she is. Look how comfortable she is in her skin. Look how comfortable, because they're saying 7 years ago you were not.
Correct.
7.
Correct.
Four sevens. I don't know what that means. You know, I don't need to know, but you know what they mean.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Continue.
So the other thing that's really important to tell everybody is that, so it's about taking care of each other. It's about letting go of power and greed and money and all the bullshit. None of that is important. None of that is important. Nature, the environment, each other, loving each other. The other thing so the Sagittarius full moon, we just had that. Sagittarius full moon is about truths. This Sagittarius full moon was really about what truths or what beliefs were you taught from when you were little became truths that are not true, that are outdated, that you need to let go of. And so I've let go of a lot. And this one I've been working on for years.
That's important.
Very important.
Very important.
One of those, so a truth is that money and greed and all that stuff is important. This one came to me, I think, yesterday. I never got married and had kids. I spent so much time obsessing over finding that perfect person to love me and get married and all that stuff. I wasted so much time, but it was my journey, whatever. And it came to me the other day that they also say, oh, well, if you don't find somebody, then you need to love yourself first. And then after you love yourself, then you'll find that perfect someone. No. We each need to love ourselves unconditionally. That's it. You love yourself unconditionally, not with the condition that you're going to meet the love of your life. Unconditionally love yourself and love the people. Period. Done.
And what you said earlier coming in, wow, you said, I'm not worried about these things. I bring things in because I don't attract negativity. What you just said, listen, people, if you are putting a false face out into public, if everything about you is, look, that's you, that's fine. If you're happy there, but if you're putting a false thing and then becoming someone else when you shut the door, when you go home, you are attracting falsely people to your false self, which is why you're not happy when they see who the real you is.
Yep. 100%.
Why is that so hard to understand? This is perfect. And it is. This is it. We're going back to tribal. This is why they keep showing me all this Native American stuff. This is why, again, Kitchen Witch, the same thing you're saying Kitchen Witch for, I'm saying Native America. We're probably doing the same doggone thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is, again, the stigma, the crazy, please explain to me why across continents, before there was any kind of travel, any boat, the Chinese ever made a boat, or a Viking or anybody else, please explain to me why everybody was using certain herbs for the same damn thing. How did that information get out there? Right. How are you using it now? Explain this to me. And it'll overlap when you look, and there'll be like 2 or 3 things that, oh, I didn't know it for this. Cat's claws like that, you name it, across the board. And again, worshiping certain things the same way, kindness, love, all the things that were important. Do you know that Native Americans, I don't know why I got to say this, but I do, never had a word for liar until the boats came over? Never, they didn't know what to call it. This is liar. This is the symbol for liar, which is they had to come up with the hands, like it's very much like, what do they call it when you're deaf and you signing
language,
because they couldn't communicate. So they had to come up with things, and they had to come up with something for liar and two-faced, because they didn't do that. It wasn't about material things, as Steph said.
Right.
It was about everybody did what they did, what they were good at, man or woman. If you were a woman and you were a better shot with a bow and arrow, guess what you did? You
Right.
know, in the matriarchal ones, the women seem to make a better sense instead of this forcing a square peg into a round hole, which is what we said in the beginning. This must be the message for tonight. Michelle, please. What are you thinking? Did you get to say that the second one, it was all about the love, right?
Love, yeah.
It's so important.
Yeah.
That is the message. We are supposed to care for each other. Again, we are all part of one big ocean. You take a bucket of water out, take a scoop of water out, flick the are they any less part of the ocean? We are all part of the same person, people. And when you realize if I hit her, when I go across the other side, I'm going to feel how it hurt her, how it affected her, what it caused her to do later on, how it affected those people and everything else. You're responsible for everything, including your thoughts, which really freaked me out when I learned that.
We are. Yes.
I'm thinking I can stop myself from hitting somebody, but I can't stop myself from thinking I want to. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's like, how do you not, you know? And then
Yes.
a very wise person told me that not so much the first one, but the second and third, you kind of get judged on a little bit because you're digging in a little. You know, it took you a little too long to make the right choice. I think it's all about choices, and I think it's about being kind. If I'm kind to you, I'm kind to me.
It is. But you know, it also goes back to intention, because if we intend, okay, so let's say for an example, let's say someone gets kind of nasty with you, right? And they're really wanting to draw out, you know, some kind of anger in you because they're trying to project their anger on you, right?
Well, misery likes company, yeah, babe.
And it's like all of a sudden it's like this person usually unknowingly does not understand that their thoughts, even though they're not speaking it, what's in their heart, what is in their mind, all of the celestial realms, if it is of love and truth, hears everything, every thought. So even though you might be standing there smiling and looking at someone like you really care about them, but in your mind you're thinking, I can't stand you, you know, whatever. That's being heard.
And I think we struggle. I agree 100%. And as you're speaking that to me, I'm hearing we're spending too much time trying to figure out why other people are doing. Here's the thing. If you're not of evil minded, this world has produced an awful, especially in the last 30 years. I would say a lot longer, because I've done a lot of true crime studies. We both have done a lot of digging in history. Listen, Villisca axe murder was pretty awful, and it happened 100 and something years ago. You know what I'm saying? So evil has always existed. Caesar, I mean, if you knew what the you know, people in Caesar's time did to kids and everything, people, we get kicked out for YouTube for sure. We're already demonetized. So I'm just saying the evil. And one thing that you hear, I think evil, if we want to give it a persona, has been able to use against us is our own thoughts that nobody could ever be that way, because we could never be. Don't ever underestimate the level of evil human beings can do to each other. Please. So that's one. Two, we spend way too much, light workers spend way too much time trying to fix people who never want to be fixed. Let them go. And also, I think the number one message for tonight is to be happy in your own skin. We've all gone through the journey. We've all had to woof off the psychic vampires and the people that came during our journey to toughen us up. I'm glad for those people. I'm glad for my exes. I learned something from each of them, you know, and you know, all the things. Listen, the heartbreaks, the stub toes. One of the wisest thing I ever heard from a Native American elder, and I've heard a lot, you know, pieces. And by no means is this 24 hours of my life, but I've heard in pieces, was if you want to be a healer, the best thing that could ever happen to you is to break your leg. Because if you break your leg and it's healed, someone else who has broken their leg, you can emphasize. What's my word?
Empathize.
Thank you, with them. And you know how it feels to hurt. You know what they're going to have to go through to heal, to get back on their feet and everything else. A light worker's journey is very much like this. So again, when we tell you, it's coming from a place of knowing, and it's knowing the things that we know and knowing the things that we don't know and the wisdom to tell the difference, because all three of us will go, I don't have a clue. I don't know why this works, but it does. I don't know why a little child, I heard a ghost story the other night, thousands of them. And they're all talking about the little girl in the red dress, and it's adorable and it's wonderful. And we all love the stories. But everybody's walking around and they've got all this equipment and there's people coming and going. And it's one of those places where it's constant investigations and people working motel. And here's this little girl. And I'm like, nobody's helping this little girl. What? This is a child that's been here for 100 and something years. Why is nobody sitting down and talking to her and trying to figure out why she's still there? Does she even realize what's going on? She's got so used to this. And I watched you guys on an investigation together. And I don't know how many you've been on. I don't know. I've caught a few that you've had on there. Oh, just the one? Okay. I think I caught a couple different videos of the same one. Okay, yeah. That's what it was. So again, but the whole thing was different. You're going through emotions, you're feeling emotions, you're helping, you're moving through things. You're helping a human being that just happens to be dead. And this is how I started my whole journey. I found Hans Holzer. I didn't like the things that, people went and kicked indoors. Of course, we didn't have a lot of that back then, but there was ghost hunters that, Harry Price was one of a lot of chicanery, but he still was trying to figure it out, and I love the way you guys go about it. I would love if we could one time get together and do something like that, plan, hang out for a while. But again, we're all in our spots trying to help other people that are trying to sort through this. And the number one thing I see are the things we've already mentioned, and fear. Mm-hmm. Fear as a weapon. Fear and denying that evil exists. We have got to get a handle on those two things. And we've got to understand that we're accountable for everything. And we've got to allow ourselves to be us and stop apologizing for it.
Yes. Vixen wants to know if Michelle does past life regressions.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Not actually.
Go ahead, babe.
Regression. I do past life readings, which lead into past life healings. Which
there you go.
Also lead into this lifetime, which will help you understand why you may like a certain type of music, or why you may feel drawn to a certain thing, or why you may work in a certain area. But it's like, it's all about healing. It's like a past life karmic healing is what I actually call them.
Love that.
Because it's karma. Stephanie, actually, would you mind to explain to them? Because I gave Stephanie one a few years ago.
That's great. But make sure you let Vixen know where they can get a hold of you to do something like that too. There's a lot of people that want to try to sort that and get it put behind them and stop that circle. And that's what you got to do, the cycle, the whole thing. Because guys, you'll have to come back and repeat it again until you get it. Yes. And you'll choose to do so. You'll choose to do so, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And you'll do that contract. Yeah, I'm gonna come back and beat the shit out of you in this life too. And that's kind of the way it is. I know it's crazy, but I was a brave son of a gun on the other side. I said, give me this, and this, and throw that in for just shits and giggles, and we'll laugh about it when I get back over here. And if you realize that that's how it is, you take your life a whole lot easier. You can get at Stephanie level. You could probably cut off a couple of years, but here's the thing. I don't think there's a shortcut to it. You got to go through the gauntlet, man. The thing is like, while you're riding that wave, we can get you to go wee, or you can be in a panic. But you're probably going to ride the wave, right, guys? Go ahead. Tell about it, Stephanie. I'd love to hear.
Well, Michelle, tell her how to get a hold of you first.
So you can reach me on YouTube, would be the best. I am on a lot of social medias. However, right now I'm extremely booked with many different things. So I'm not answering people back unless you contact me through YouTube on my channel, or my email that is on my YouTube channel page. Okay. Otherwise, you will not hear from me probably for months. Okay. To be honest. But my YouTube channel is Michelle Brandenburg. and it is now Michelle Brandenburg Psychic and Paranormal Network. There's getting ready to be some major changes to my channel. I'm keeping things secret right now until they actually start happening. But you're going to see a lot of spiritual readings, but there's a lot of changes coming. But like I said, I'm keeping that quiet for now until you actually see. So it's a surprise, and it's for humanity.
Yep.
Well, there you go. So you did this for Steph. Now, can you give us a little idea what that was like for you when you went through?
It was interesting because I've never been, so I had asked Michelle when we first started talking, when we first met, I had said, I really had wanted to do a past life regression. I'd never been hypnotized. I never, done a past life regression. And she said, I don't do past life regressions, but I do past life readings. So she did a past life reading for me. And what she did at that time was she would go off and do her 3-day meditation and all the stuff. And then she would do a video for you of everything that she got. And I've had 2 past life regression sessions with 2 other people since then, where they actually hypnotized me and did the whole thing. And I did it myself. Now, I didn't come up with the exact same lifetime that Michelle did, but that's because I already got what I needed out of the lifetime that Michelle gave me, what I needed. And it had to do with my mom and my dad. So that was really interesting. And it had a lot to do with the relationship I have with my mother now. And I was able to heal that and heal my family. Like, I've healed my entire family, and
Wow.
we now can get together and not kill each other.
Wow.
Know you at that time. We had just met pretty much, right?
She knew nothing about me.
This is, again, hearing that, I can see why you are, again, where you are. And even more so than the last time we got together. So you've been doing a lot of grounding. You've been doing a lot of self-care. You've been doing I think you've been doing a lot of things that you just wanted to do, and this is what you need. Again, if you're feeling, I'm probably going to hit 90% of the people that are out there. If you're feeling overworked, I'm just working to pay the bills, I'm just doing this. Listen, I can tell you from experience, what Stephanie says is true. So if you're losing your mind trying to pay the car, lose the car, man. Get something that's reliable that says, it doesn't matter how many followers you have. These kids that are coming up now, we're going to have a hell of a time with the last 20 years of people coming up, because everything is, how many followers do you have? I can remember when we go back in the bars and dating guys and stuff, it was like, I wanted to know what he drove, because I wanted to know if he was, had a hot rod or some old station wagon or something. I remember one time I slummed it and went out with a guy who what were those things? The El Caminos. And at the time I thought, the guy can't make up his damn mind. He doesn't know whether he wants a car or a pickup truck. And I thought that was it. Again, I was a teenager and I was thinking this stupid stuff, but it wasn't how many followers you have. It wasn't how, the nails you just got did, I'm in Jersey. If you don't have big hair and nails, holy crap. It's everything is what you're driving, and the big house and these McMansions and these, I'm like, $7 million house. What are you, nuts? There's 2 people. How many rooms do you need to get away from each other? And again, I'm not criticizing. If that's what you got, great. But I'm like, why? Ask yourself why, do you need this? I have family members, and I'm going to just tell it. They had such a big house. Well, he's got the man cave or whatever you want to call it with the movies down here. She's got 2 kitchens, maybe 3. One of them is what they call an Italian kitchen. It's very popular here. There's a lot of Italians in Jersey and all this. I have never in my life cooked so much where I need 2 kitchens. I'm just saying. Yeah. Maybe you do, not criticizing, but I can't wrap my mind around. But I can't wrap my mind around $8,000 purses either. You know what I'm saying? I can't, because I look at it differently. I was raised in a thing with these cartoons where people were driving Mercedes past homeless vets, and I'm a vet. And I can't wrap my mind around stuff like that. So I never got into that materialistic thing. And then I leave my family and I come back, and everybody, it's all about What are your credentials? What are you driving? What do you, and I'm like, people, you do not understand. I've just spent 30 years slaying three-headed dragons with a plastic spoon, and I won. That's my badge. That's my degree. That's my PhD. And not one of you could have done it. So drive your cars, whatever you're doing, get your nails did, do all the things. None of that means anything to me. What means up to me is that time I spent with, helping a vet not die alone, doing this over here, doing that, helping someone get off of an addiction, pulling people out of a crack house at 3 o'clock in the morning because there was somebody in there worth saving, that kind of stuff. And, we value things differently. And I think that that's the big thing, Steph. This is why you're getting these downloads. I'm getting them too. It's, we got our eye on the wrong prize, people.
Yeah. Think about this. Think about back in the day, the natives, they didn't work. Why the hell? Like, who thought it was going to be a good idea to just agree to work 5 days, 8 days a week? Like, what is wrong with us?
And just being taxed to death. And I know. And no, we've come so far away from the Waltons. My thing is just, my God, we used to stick together, and grandma was there at the table snapping those beans, and she was listening to your conversation. And when and she was going to throw in on it. She was going to give you her wisdom. And then we started taking our old people and putting them in nursing homes.
Yep.
Then we started taking our 4-week-old kids. And I've said this before, and you can slap back to me if you want. I understand your story. You don't have to validate your existence to me. I'm nobody. I'm telling you what I think. This is my opinion. Started putting 4-week-old kids in nursing and letting other people raise our kids. And then we don't even know. When COVID happened, I was working at AC Moore, and all these people, parents coming to me, panicked. I love your baby. Does he need to go out?
He's already been out.
He's already been, because he looks like he was like, Mom, I need a cookie. Something's going on. So he's it was, they were panicked. They had to be locked in the house with their own children.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what to do with them. And, I'm like, are you kidding me? I read to my kids. We did all the crafts. We did all kinds of things. I homeschooled them. I understood. I knew my kids. I could ask somebody, what's your daughter's favorite color? They got no idea. And I don't know how we got here. We split all up. We got families all over the place. I don't think it was ever supposed to be that way. We're all supposed to care for each other, care for our elderly, care for our young. It took a village to raise kids. I grew up at a time where my neighbor whooped my ass. The next one you could get your butt, if you were a kid and you disrespected somebody, they'd call your mom and say, I'm going to whoop his butt all the way home and hand him off to you.
Yeah.
But you respected yourself.
That's the other download I got.
What is it, babe?
The other download I got was, how
we got to beat the crap out of our kids.
No. The whole, it's always
love your babies.
Somebody, whoever goes in and does a mass shooting, and then immediately they're like, he had a bad childhood, or he's not well, or whatever. Or there's always the argument of, well, the parents aren't doing a good job, or the teacher isn't doing a good job. No. Sorry. Each one of us is responsible for who we are. Even if you have a bad childhood, you get over it and you become the person you're supposed to become. You cannot blame your parents, your uncle. Tragedies, life sucks. Life is hard.
Life's hard, man.
You can't blame the teacher. You are who you are intentionally are, period.
And you're responsible for your choices. You're responsible for your choices. Again, I will reiterate, and I've said it to you guys, I think last time, but I'm getting it again. The Ravine. Please watch The Ravine. This is so important, and it's the hardest thing. Have you seen it? It's the hardest thing for us to do, is to forgive ourselves and forgive other people. What we were just talking about, the other lives and stuff, on the other side. And I was joking, but I meant it. We're going to go over there and we're going to agree. I'm going to come back and I'm going to do this to you and do this to you and do this to you. I'm going to really push your V this time because we almost had it last time. That kind of stuff, And yes, we pick. I want an alcoholic abusive father, and I want to say, throw in cancer, throw in this, do this. I want to be, listen, we've all here been through horrible things. We could have you crying in 15 minutes if we just started stating a couple of the things we've been through. But here we are. This is where we are now. And
Right.
we're telling you that if you feel like you want to learn to communicate, if you want to use, again, I don't know you. I don't know you. Are you infirmed? Do you have a weakness? Are you scared? Then you shouldn't do it right out of the gate. If you're already going into it saying, I don't want to talk to ghosts because they're all demons, don't do it, because you've already opened the gate to fear and bringing in that negativity. We're going as ghosts. I talk to ghosts. What do you got? What's wrong with you, honey? Are you here for a reason? You have something you want to say? And next time we get together, let's bring up the subject of why the hell don't they just say what they want? Why does it take them so long to get? But and I think I've come across a possible answer to that question. They have to work through it just like we do, Michelle. They have to work through their emotions. Steph, do you have anything to say on that? The number one, did you hit your knee? Yeah.
Oh.
It's like, why do they take so long to say, what they came for? I think it's because at the time they don't know. We don't know what frame of mind they're in, not just what they died.
Right.
What have they gone through since? Maybe that's a good way to take us out. Let's talk a little bit about that, is trying to understand. Look, I don't want to talk to half the people at the grocery store or the Walmart, and I can imagine if you just pick somebody and said, why are you here? What's on your mind today? What's bothering you? It's like talking to a ghost, So go ahead. Tell me what you want to say. Whoever wants to go first.
Michelle.
Well, I would like to say this. Okay, going back to something that really, really hurt my heart, and it's still with me. Is this? I don't know. Maybe no, it's not even been 6 months. Maybe about 4 months ago. I was meditating, and a lot of times when I am meditating, I will overhear spirits talking to each other, like we do. And I actually asked one time, do you see us how we are? And it depends on the realm, but yes, the realm I was talking to, yes, they do see us, everything. It's not just our energy, but it's that realm. They see us differently. But anyways, I was asking, do they communicate as a community like we do in physical body? And I was told yes, in that realm. Okay, I don't know what realm it was. I just know it was an in-between realm. Okay, and so then so in that same realm, about 4 months ago, I overheard a female talking to another female. They were talking back and forth about some stuff, and then they started talking about me. And the one female, she said, because she respects us. Like, I wanted to cry.
Wow.
It was not a trickster.
Wow.
I have discernment of spirit. And
there you go. Discernment of spirit. Yes.
For years, I know better. This was a human person without a physical body.
And you felt the emotion.
I did. And it it ripped my heart out. And it made
know.
me realize, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's so important.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to them too. And this is why so many people don't have. I listened to a thing today, a very famous, what do you want to call it? Paraghost story show, whatever. I mean, it's been on for decades. If I'd said that I try, I struggle. I tell you, I struggle all the time. This guy is such an asshat. And the drama and the BS and everything else. And why are we making stupid people famous? I do not understand. There are people, heroes every day. Listen, your granddad, your dad that's going out and feeding the family, your mom who's got duct tape at the bottom of her shoes but bought you a new pair. These are your heroes. Stop making these dumbasses famous. But here's the thing. Somebody broke off from that show because, and I really dug into this because I have some interest in one of the places where it happened and some of the people, I know the people. And the show got canceled. And I found out it got canceled because this jerk called and said, if you don't take this show off, you're not getting mine. And not intent on their own fame and their own money and their own check. They had to ruin everybody else's just out of jealousy. This is the kind of person that is going in and showing you how to be a ghost hunter, a ghost communicator, someone is interested in the paranormal. I have watched this for decades, and I've watched it go, not only life go from the Waltons to whatever the hell it is we got now, and the paranormal has been the same way. We've gone from people like Hans Holzer, who said that I'm not afraid of ghosts, they're just people in need of help, to kicking in the door and going, what it's like to be shot and bang on the table for me, you son of a bitch. How did we get here? We need to find our humanity. We need to find our gentleness again. We need to find our connection back. We need to look at these. I have a group of birds out here. I said all the time, those cardinals are being cardinals today. Those sparrows are being sparrows today. Those raccoons went through my garbage just like any other day. You know, they found the sandwich I left for them. You know, whatever it may be. Nature goes on about being nature. And it adapts and overcomes. And I think that's what people need to start doing. But we need to start realizing that we were born to be a tribe. We weren't born to be individuals that just individuals, yes, but not individuals on our own, alone on our own little separate islands. And I think that's what we've become because we're scared we're going to lose our square foot of real estate. We've been pushed around and yanked and had the rug pulled out from us so much that if we were just a little calmer and a little more content with simple things of what we had and live within our means, we wouldn't be so stretched crazy and erratic trying to keep up with the Joneses. Screw the Joneses. They're not happy either.
And we're only visitors here. We don't own anything here.
Amen. You can't take it with you. You know, and these people of power and, you know, this and that. And again, Steph, your story of, you know, hard life. Look, I was living on my own at 10. I had a family of 7, 8 siblings and everything else who were so caught up in their own business. They left a 10-year-old to live by themselves for months in a hotel in the middle of nowhere. So tell me your plight. You know what I mean? It's like, again, you don't say, I look back on that and I go, one, I was lucky. All the true crime stuff I know, are you kidding me? I look back and I go, what? How in the world did I gray man it through that whole thing? How in the world? You know, it's like the 3-year-old that wandered 10 miles during a picnic and is perfectly fine, lost a shoe. How does this happen? It's, look, we're here for a reason. We all have a story. If you've made it a couple of years in this world, you've got a story somewhere along the line. Instead, embrace the broken leg. Embrace the fact that the boyfriend broke up with. Would you learn from it? Happens to everybody. Did you learn something? Did you make it through? If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger, right? And I think we need to get back out of that strength, out of that armor. We need to be able to be gentle. And I think that's what the monks have down. Do you know what I mean? That whole Kung Fu thing, that whole Tibetan, you know, again, tribal, going back to those simple things. And I think it's so important. And now you're looking at, look, people, you are looking at 2 beautiful faces here that have been through absolute hell and came out the other side of it. Okay. And here and calmer. And I think it's smiling and we appreciate things more. Don't you appreciate things more? A simple cup of tea,
Yes.
you know, a conversation with a friend. Like I said in the beginning, you know, holding a hand means something again. We stopped looking at each other's eyes. We stopped handwriting our words back and forth, putting our energy on paper and passing it along and things like so important. That whole thing, you know, and I think we can get back to that. We need to keep doing this at least once a month, if not more, guys, you know, and I'd love to set something together. You know, a lot of our people, maybe we can do a gathering of some sort where people can meet. I think we need to start doing more of that. And it's going to seem like, you know, it's a long way to go, but hey, did you ever drive to go to a theme park? How much money did you put in? How many crazy ass hotels and how much roadside bullshit did you eat? This is important. And if you can get together and you can gather with a group of people that, look, we're not perfect. We don't have a lot of we'll tell you, we don't have a lot of answers. We know what doesn't work. And
Yeah.
you know how we know that? Because we tried the other stuff. And we made it over here, and we kept the knowledge, and we're willing to give it to you guys. I mean, for what it's worth, it might fit for what you need, and it might not be, but it might lead you to. So the number one thing to take away from tonight, I would say, is stop the fear. If you're listening to something that makes you scared, shut it off. If you're listening to somebody who's trying to sell you some t-shirts and a book and everything else, and if this person, if every time a problem is solved, they find another one, they got another one in the queue, avoid these people. These are energy vampires, and they want you to be scared with them. Please don't do that.
If you're listening to something that makes you feel angry, shut it off.
Shut it off.
Absolutely.
You can feel the vibrations. Do it like you do with the rocks. If you're listening to music that's getting you more agitated and you feel like that's what I need because I need to get it out, hey, fine. But I suggest you finish it off with something smooth that raises that vibration back. Stay above the line. What we mean by that is all the vibration, all the emotions and everything that lift you up or above the line. The ones that drag you down or below. Try to stay above the line.
Right.
Sometimes people are hanging onto that line with a pinky, and they got all kinds of things pulling on them.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the shamanic view on that. And again, I'm not a shaman. I just know a few. I got a guy. So the thing is this. Sometimes you have to embrace that bad because you're about to learn a really big lesson. And man, if you start looking at things like that and go, what am I supposed to learn from this? What am I supposed to glean from this? And just let the other bullshit go, be much happier. Ladies, take us out. Everybody take a turn. And what do you want to finish this out with? It's been beautiful. It really has. Hasn't it? It's just nice conversation. I think people really get, and I go back over the chat later and I try to hit it tomorrow night. If there's any specific questions for you guys, I'll pass them along. But sometimes I just get so caught into the thing. I can't even, and they're picking up the energy. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Okay. I would just like to, my last thought is, there is this stigmata that I have noticed and I've actually lived in for years of how hard it is to take accountability for anything, okay? Because we think it makes us look bad. But honestly, from spirit, when we take accountability for our actions, we're always a part of the puzzle, whether we want to admit it or not. So where Cisco was talking about, learning a lesson, if we look back and we say, oh, well, that wasn't me that needed to learn a lesson, we need to reassess that situation over and over again because there's something we're missing, because that's why we came here. We come here to mess up. So when you say it was the other person's fault, because listen, look, if you don't know me, I have been through so much. Yes, it used to embarrass the heck out of me until a few years ago. And I had to start learning to take accountability. And even though certain situations I didn't purposefully hurt someone, what happened was I learned that even taking accountability for allowing myself to continually be in abuse or allowing myself to be in a situation that I knew was not good for me. There are many ways that we can still be a part of that situation. So we have to learn taking accountability is not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's why we're here.
Mm-hmm. So true. So true. And I think that goes with the movie Ravine as well. It's accountability and forgiveness. Assess it, look at it, call it what it was, and say, I did do that. I did want to hurt that person. I wanted to hurt. I was hurt. Jordan Peterson said something, and it's not that I follow him on there. I think he's brilliant when he's brilliant. And he was explaining, I have a thing with anger. This is and I think I mentioned to you guys before. I did a reading, was over the phone, whatever, and the lady didn't know me. And I said, the first thing she said was anger. I said, what do I need to get before at the end of this life? It's my hardest thing. What is it? because I have a thing about the people that can't stick up for themselves. That's me. I jump in front of it and go, let's go. You know, I got you. I used to get a lot of bar fights when I was a teenager for that. I had a lot of things to work through. So anyway, it's the anger thing. So she sits down, she goes, wait a minute, honey, it's not your anger. What do you mean it's not my anger? You know, angry. And she says, wait a minute, your mom. Now this is something I never thought of, but for somebody needs to hear this tonight. She said, when your mom was pregnant with you, what was going on in her life at the time? And I went, whoa. Oh, whoa. And now the things that I know, right? She goes, was she going anything really traumatic? And I told her what was going on in the household when my mom was pregnant. And she goes, yeah, that would be it. She goes, it's not yours. You absorbed her anger. You were born angry. So, what?
Wow.
I'm carrying around for 60 years anger that doesn't belong to me.
Right.
That I absorbed from my mother. You know, in her defense, she came by it honest. And I'm like, holy crap. And now I'm looking at animals different. I adopted 2 on Halloween. Boo, Spirit and Boo, my babies. One of them was just behind me a minute ago. Orange pumpkins are adorable. They're bougie boys. So anyhow, I can look at them and I'm like, they were born in the shelter. Their mom was a stray. Luckily they got her and they were born in the shelter. Never been outside. All of these things got them real jumpy. And I'm like, she must have had such a time. They have absorbed it from her, the jumps. They've never had anything to be afraid of other than maybe sounds in a shelter. But think about that. When you guys are rescuing animals, you've got to get into you want to understand ghosts. Start with animals. Go volunteer at a rescue shelter, no-kill shelter, because there better be one. And walk the dogs and stuff and see and try to understand the personality of the dog and try to understand what they've been through. Because listen, man, I'm telling you, I got 2 cats that are doing the same thing. And I'm thinking she was extremely jumpy. That poor girl was trying to survive in a world out there that we're talking about as human beings, walking, talking human beings with keys to cars and houses and things. And we're having a hard time surviving. This girl was out there trying to bring kittens into the world, and they absorbed her fear. So what do you think you're doing to your kids if you're running around looking at the news and you're scared? You're showing you're scared, right? And you're scared about this, and you're scared about taxes. You're scared about maybe cut back or whatever, and explain it to the kids. Hey, we're not going to do this week, but we're going to save up and we're going to do this. We're going to spend more family time together. You know what? I'm going to do some FaceTime with you. The floor in color. What happened to that?
Right.
Right. So let's get more of those hands-on. It's not that you can't afford. It's that you're going to have to stop and look in the mirror and see, who are you? What made you happy when you were a kid? Where are your memories? Did you have a grandma that sat down and showed you how to sew on a button or something? Why don't you do that with your kids? Start there. So I think that's a beautiful thing. Steph, take us out, honey.
So part of what I've been also getting is people that make you angry or frustrated or upset or whatever is a reflection of who you don't want to be. But it's also keeping you in a lower vibration. So you have to let it go and just don't let them do that to you anymore. I'm not playing with stuff anymore. I have started eating out of my yard. I am making my own tinctures. I'm making my own medications. I'm learning what I need to do. I truly am a kitchen witch. And since all of that,
we need to collab on that, because that's me too.
Yeah. I haven't had to do my lymph drainage therapy anymore. I'm in no pain. I'm not all of it. I've learned I'm level 2 certified Reiki now. Like I've got pieces and I'm not playing. I've got a garden. I'm picking wild raspberries out my back door. I am not playing in the stuff that makes me angry.
Love it.
Taking care of myself, and it's pretty much free. All this stuff that I'm doing, I'm eliminating things that I was paying for, and I'm healthier for it.
Isn't that great?
So going back to your point before, I loved it when you were saying this, all the herbs and the weeds that they call them that were used all over the world, all over Earth, without each other knowing it and stuff. We need to get back to that.
And just so you know, the bastards that were burning people at the stakes still put incense in their little, I want to say in their little balls, and flip them around, just to, because that's okay.
Right.
Here's the thing, guys. We gotta move past it. The same things that scared us 100 years ago cannot be scaring us now. Right. What have we learned? We have learned, look, I've seen this stuff. I'm not going to say I don't. If you pop a balloon in front of me, I'm going to scream, and then I'm probably going to punch you. I'm going to be, certain things scare us, but like Steph was saying, when you're walking into a place, no, we're not scared when we get there because we've been working on it. The minute you call us, we're already getting the downloads from it. We're already getting the energy. We're already seeing what we need to do, who we need to beget. Our spirit guides are clicking in. We don't do this alone. Our spirit guides get with their spirit guides and they connect and they sort all this out.
Yeah.
We can't take credit for this. This is a group effort. If anybody that's walking in and going, this is me and I have all the answers and I'm doing this by myself, look, run. Run.
Yes.
Because we're not. This is a collective. And the only reason that we're just laughing and having a ball is because we've already been through this stuff. If you haven't been, or you're in the middle of it, I give you encouragement. I give you love. I give you kudos. And I say, keep running, drive on, because you're going to get through that gauntlet. You're going to get through it and you're going to be wiser and you're going to be, you're going to have bruises, you're going to have scars, you're going to have pain and all that, but you're going to have that turns into armor. And then you get, when you're a light worker, you go in there and you're carrying all the light with you, just like the feathers in the chief's headdress. It's all the feathers. It's all the knowledge. It's all of the wisdom of your spirit guides and everything else. And you walk in with confidence, not because it's you, because you know who's walking with you, baby.
Right.
And that's our confidence, and that's how we feel. And look, the earth has given us answers and we're listening again. And Steph and I and Michelle, we're all going to get together. We're going to do a thing on herbs. I'm hearing it getting put together now, because I think it's going to be really interesting to go, I use it for this. Now, I'll tell you what, I've gotten to the point where I've limited down. I don't have to do a lot of different things, but when I got bit, and most of the people around me, this was a brown recluse spider bites. Believe me, we don't have time tonight. That's a whole nother show. But what the voice I got was, everything you need is in your purse. You don't need a doctor.
Yeah.
And I was going through an herbal cleanse. I have burdock root. I've got all my stuff. I had my claw. I had all of my stuff. I mean, I look like I could have been hung, burned at the stake 100 times for what I just had in my purse, but it saved my life. And in 30 years, it has saved multiple other people. I have spread the information and the knowledge, and that is what we're supposed to do. And then you bring yours, you bring yours, you bring yours, you guys bring yours. And that's how you're supposed to do it as a village. Here is our tribe. You guys have your tribe. You have yours. And all that comes together. Now look how big it is.
Yeah.
And it's all people who are listening and understanding and trying to bring the knowledge forth. I love you guys for this. Again, your channels, Michelle. Tell them again, it's Michelle Brandenburg on YouTube, right? And
Yes.
yours is Get Spooky, and you might change the name. And
Uh-huh.
I'm seeing you will. I'm seeing you will, because I think you have evolved, and I think it needs to evolve with you, and it's moving in that direction. And the last video you put up, take us out. Can you tell me a little bit about that? It was so interesting. The location that you went to, and now you've got a group. And do you always take the same group, or you meet with people are you eclectic like that?
There's Dale and Ashley and myself, but then there's always guests at each location.
Yeah.
So are you talking about the one where we were in?
I think it was about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So it was in the vault. So it was
the
National Bank in Harrison, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pulling teeth. The spirits just were not forthcoming. They weren't really sure what they wanted to tell us. And it was nobody involved with the bank. So that was interesting. It wasn't anybody that had anything to do with the bank. So.
Right. And I think that's important too, because people, again, I'm still hearing to this day, and it doesn't irritate me anymore. I just go, okay, well, that's the level we're starting at. Okay. I'm gonna get a cup of tea, because they'll say, I don't understand how my house can be haunted. It's brand new. And I'm like, okay, we got to talk, and again, if you need to understand it, if it's something you need to understand, I'll spend the time on it. But if not, I'll say, I got to deal with this, or we have to deal with this, or this is going to be a simple little thing. We're just going to move this. I'm just going to bring this one home and talk to him later. That kind of thing. But again, it has to do with the living too, because you can have a place that 5 families live in, never see a doggone thing, and then the next one it's poltergeist. So there are rules, but we got to expand our thinking a little bit around it. I love you guys so much. We are going to be back again next month, same time, same bat crazy channel, and I love you so much, guys. Thank you for taking the time to do this, and it's so good to see you smiling so bright, baby. You look so happy where you are right now in life, aren't you? You're really coming into some stuff. I think it's great. You're getting there.
Last night,
yeah, it's a big difference.
My life just opened up, like
it's a big difference
that were unexpected. Was it
I love it.
Started last night? Yeah, it started last night.
Now's the time.
On today. Yeah.
It's going to be like a rocket. It's time to start the new business, start the thing, sell. I don't care if it's popcorn bowls, frozen bananas at the fair. You do it if it makes you smile. Do it as long as you're not hurting anybody. I love you guys. Listen, guys, we're going to take everybody out. I've got a special little funny on the way out. Ted, I hope you're still here because you're going to love it. It is the Sugar Plum Death Fairy. She is skinny, but she's cute in a beautiful pink tutu. I love you all. Listen, don't be strangers. Steph, I have a feeling you've got some questions, and I have some for you. Later on down the line, I'll contact you up and ask you. It's about an herb. And I'm seeing, are you going to make rosemary wreaths? Or was that something you were talking about? There was something about rosemary wreath, or somebody's making. Keep your eye out for that. Okay. You know what I'm talking about, rosemary wreath. Yeah. All right. I love you all. Good night, everybody. Listen, guys, I'm going to go through the comments tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow night with Steve Stockton at 8 o'clock. Good night, everybody. Much love and blessings. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much. Good night.
Night.